Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and today I will be presenting my October wrap-up and my November TBR. October has been a really busy month for me as it was my midterm as well as a couple of birthdays, but I did ended up reading at least I think 6 or 7 books, including in these one audiobooks, which I'm really proud, since it is my first audiobook ever. So without further ado, let's just get started. One of the book I've read this month is for my book club lecture. The book of the month was Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I really did enjoy reading this one. I finished it at the almost end of October, maybe even like starting November, but I really did like it. I thought it was a bit empty sometimes, as we could say. I just thought that since it was supposed to be a fairy tale for grown up, I expected to have a lot more of character development and a lot of more depth into some of the things. Unfortunately, I was kind of feeling like I was reading like a young adult novel or like a child fairy tale, as we could say. I wasn't expecting to be so not disappointed, but kind of not liking the end. Everything seems a bit rushed toward the end, but in general, I so loved like all the amazing universe that Neil Gaiman has created in the book. And I gave, if I remember correctly, 3.5 stars on Goodreads. I also read this month One Dark Throne by Kendar Blake, which is the second book into the Three Dark Crown series. I was so excited to get this book. Honestly, I've been dying to get this one since I've read the first one in January or February, I believe. I binge read the book. I think it took me like about 2 or 3 days, and honestly I was so happy with the book. I felt like it explained a lot more details than it did into the first book. The first book was more of an introduction to the series and to the universe, and since it has a lot of characters into the story, it was really hard to and really slow to get into the first book, but the second book really redeemed itself. I really actually like to learn a lot more about all the characters, and it was really a good read. I gave the book 5 stars out of 5 because honestly I just loved the fact that it stays dark, it stays into the fantasy, and I have not been disappointed at all with the books, even though it is kind of a slow introduction into the world and that even some people can say it's boring. But I always found it super interesting to read, and honestly I just loved character development and building world so much that I have really been pleased with the book. The only thing I have to say with the book is that it talks about a lot of Arisno, which is one of my least favorite character in the book. She is my least favorite sisters of all 3. And I just felt that the book goes a bit more toward her in the end, or well, not in the end, but all through the books. And I feel like she is a bit more important than the 2 other sisters, and it just kind of deceived me. I hope it will really be different into the 3rd book, because I just love Catherine and Mirabella so much more than Eraso, which I think she is just like some sort of spoiled kid who just tries too much. But I know my opinion is kind of diverse compared to anyone, but yeah, I really hope that this changed. But otherwise I really adore the book. I also read this month Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody. I've talked a lot about this book on Goodreads and other social media, but honestly this one was one of my best read of October, if not of the year. I found that this book was just so interesting, so unique in its genre, and I don't know, the whole universe and the whole, like, every character was just well developed. We learned about them. It was amazing. and I have never felt so in love with a universe. And all through the all through the story, I never thought, oh, I've seen that somewhere, or oh, it reminds me of something. Like all through all the story and all the chapters, I've always thought, oh my god, this is so original. I love it. I've never seen this anywhere. And I just fell in love with all the specificity of the character. They were just unique, and they each had their own personalities. We could see right up all the flaws of the character, and it is something I really, really, really love in books. So I was really pleased to read this one and to enjoy it as much as I did. I also read this month Eliza and Her Monster by Francesca Zappia. I did my review on Goodreads. I think I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. It is one so far of my best contemporary books I've read. I just totally loved the fact that Eliza was such a dork and she was just so adorable, and the whole story was kind of cheesy sometimes, you could say, but I really loved those, and it was just nice to have another kind of fangirl, or like people into the art and community of and slash fandom. We could also see her struggle all through the books with trying to keep her identity secret, and I just felt that the things she has been through, and the problem that we can see in the book, they're just so common, and I just could relate so much to her and to every other character, that I think it is what makes the story a unique and really amazing story. I also ended up reading the third novel of Outlander, which is Voyager by Diana Gabaldon. It took me a lot of time to read this book. These are so huge and these are written so small, but I ended up really liking it more than I did with the previous one. The first one was okay. The second one was better, but this one was just so amazing. It has so many precious moments that I've been waiting since since almost a year, because I also followed the series at the same time. So I wanted to read this one at the start of the third season, but ended up just like reading it all because I just couldn't wait. In the end of October, I also got to finish The Bone Witch by Rin Shipeko. This book was so amazing. I loved it so much. I had a lot of thoughts about it. You can see like all the tiny bit of paper. I won't talk a lot about it since I plan on doing a review about this book, but it was such an inspiration and it got me into the mood of Halloween. But it was definitely nice to have a fantasy one book novel, and to read this book has been such a pleasure. I will talk more into depth about it into a future video, but I highly recommend it to anyone who wanted to pick up the book. For the last book into my October wrap up, it is the first book I've ever listened on audiobook, which is And I Darken by Kirsten White. I've honestly really been excited about listening to this book. I wanted to try Audible for so long, but then I got caught up with things. Now that I do a lot of road to go to university, I just thought it would be a good idea to start listening to audiobook while I drive, and I wanted to pick up a story I kind of knew a bit without spoiling myself too much. So I decided to pick up And I Darken. I find it really amazing that it was a retelling of Vlad Dracul. It's interesting that Kirsten decided to gender swap Vlad, which is a girl into this novel. She is named Lada, and her brother Radu are sold by their father to the Ottoman Empire. They kind of started to hate like everything about it. They start to hate their fathers as well. We also see their friendship with Mehmed too grow up through the entire story. Lada wants to get her throne back and her home back, even though she has to sacrifice a lot to it. And it is really nice to see her struggle and to follow her story all through the books. We also see that Radu seems to like prefer his new home to the previous one, in which he was born. But I just thought that the story was so beautifully written. I give the book 5 stars out of stars on Goodreads. I don't know if it was the fact that Kirsten White writes so beautifully. Everything is written with details, and the characters, the the background development, everything is on point. I've never felt so compelled with such a beautiful writing. I've written my own opinion about it on Goodreads, but I just think that it is such an extraordinary book because I think I felt so compelled to it because it is one of the first time which I have not been deceived with the decision the character made, even though they were bad decision or good decision. And I am so picky, and I internally scream almost every book with all the characters development. It is so important for me, but I have never been let down into this book. Everything was on point, and I kind of learned to love all the characters even though I kind of hated them at the same time. So that's all the book I've read into October. And for the books I plan on reading for November, I have, I believe, 5 physical books as well as 1 audiobook. The first book I want to read this month is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maninchesco. I have already started the book, as you can see right here. I started it yesterday, and I just simply want to read it because I got it into late October, even though I wanted to read it for Halloween. As for the second book I want to read this month, I want to read Media by Francesca Zappia. I really loved, like I said before, Eliza and Her Monster, and I just wanted to pick it up a second book by her. The story talks about this girl named Alex who want to start fresh at a new school. Alex has difficulties to decide whether things are real or not. She has kind of hallucinations. She is starting to make a lot of new friends at her new school, but then after she thinks everything is fine, her problems start to come back, and she starts again to have difficulties to separate the delusion she has, if it is whether real or not. Also plan on reading this month Timeless by Armand Balthazar. I've talked a lot about this book into my book haul, but I am honestly dying with all this book. Looks fantastic. All the illustrations in it are gorgeous, and the fact that the story talks about this boy Diego who lives into a city who has no time boundaries. So you can basically have a dragon, a robot, and a mermaid into the same class. And you can have knights and, I don't know, flying skateboard into the same dinner hall. Basically, the future, the past, and the present coexist all together. When Diego turns 13, he learns he has some sort of special power, and just a bit after, his father got kidnapped by some rebel group. So Diego has to try to save his father in order to make peace into the land he comes to love all through his childhood. This book is just honestly amazing. The quality of it is also really beautiful. This book was recommended to me by a friend, and I just wanted to read it as soon as I bought it last month. So totally can wait. Third book I want to read this month is Dividing Eden by Joelle Charbonneau. Oh my god, that sounds so a French name. I actually wanted to try this book this month, even though I have been having this book into my bookshelf for a few months now. I just thought the cover looked so gorgeous, and it kind of reminded me of the story of the twin brother and sisters in A Darker Shade of Magic. I know this is weird, but I always feel like I need a bit of a royalty slash slash really hard prince and princess story into all of my month. So this one has been it. The story talks about the twin sister Caris and brother Andrews, who never thought to rule the kingdom of Eden. But then one night, their father and older brother got killed, and so they had to compete and to find a way for one and another to kill the other or to make the other less of a threat in order to gain the kingdom. They always were trying to save each other and to protect each other all through their childhood, but then the trial of succession they will have to face will teach them kind of the hard way of making things, and they will finally understand what it takes to win the crown. I originally wanted to read this book because I thought the cover was so gorgeous. It is totally the kind of thing I like. I am dying every night, every day for more princesses and prince story. Royalty and castle and everything is just, it's just driving me crazy. I love these things so much. I just cannot stop, guys. And in the end, I just read the synopsis back and just fell in love with it. Even though this has been on my shelf for a few times now, decided to pick it up this month. The last physical books I want to read this month is Aurora Store by Greedy Hendrix. I hope I pronounced it right. I have not yet bought the physical copy of it, but it is the book that has been decided to be book of the month into my book club. The story revolves around this oak furniture superstore. Some really strange things happen into the middle of the night suddenly and every night, and into the middle of the night bookshelves and any other sort of mirror glasses and even like other furnitures, they get shattered and they get broken. And so 3 employees of the store decide to pull up a full night shift in order to find what is wrong with the place. It is a kind of classic horror slash mystery story, kind of a haunted story, we could say. I am so happy that this was a book that has been chosen this month. I have not yet read a haunted history since so very long. I don't even remember what was the last one, and it is kind of not the book I usually read, so really looking forward to reading it. And I don't have, like I said, my physical copy right now, but if you could see it, the book is honestly amazing. It looks like kind of a IKEA like book. It has like the description of the furniture into the thing and the map of the store as well. The book is really amazing. And as for my last book on my November TBR, which is my audiobook for the month, it is Now I Rise by Kirsten White, which is the second book of the And I Darken trilogy. So that's it for today, guys. I really hope you did like my video today. I think I got better at defining books. At least I feel better, so that's a start. Subscribe and thumbs up this video if you can. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to comment down below what books you are reading this month and what books you read the past month. Let me know what you think about the ones I am currently reading. I hope you did like it. See you next time, guys.